Welcome to KQEG and Seven Rivers Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Each week, an inside look into sports, wellness, and into fitness. It's a special opportunity for me to introduce to you on the show one of the legends in coaching in the greater La Crosse area. My guest this week, Coach Steve King. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Thanks, Terry. Appreciate it.
You know, before we begin, some late breaking news I have to share with all of you. Some platforms have already released it, but my friend, finally, Coach Steve King is going to be inducted into the Wisconsin Football Association, Coaches Association Hall of Fame. Wow, pretty special, Coach.
Yeah, it's a great honor, and not only for myself and my family, but you know, for all the coaches that have worked with me and all the players that I've been lucky enough to have coached all those years. It's a tremendous honor, and you know, it's nice, I guess. It's more of an award for, I think, like I said, my family. Mary's awful excited about it, and my children are awful excited about it. So, but yeah, I'm honored to receive it.
You're going to find out during this interview why he was selected, so stay tuned. Well, before we talk about that, let's go back down memory lane and begin by looking at the early days. You know, down that yellow brick road that people talk about. You grew up in Holmen. You're a graduate in 1972 in a nice small village called Holmen, Wisconsin, which now, by the way, is no longer small, like 10,000 people. But you had some fond memories of growing up in Holmen.
Oh yeah, and it's, you know, my family moved to a little hobby farm when I was 12, between Onalaska and Holmen. So we had 120 acres to play around with out there, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. You know, before that I was a French Islander, so my first 12 years I grew up on the island, and I was really looking forward to going to Logan and all the things that you know, hopefully I could have helped their football team accomplish, which they did without me anyway. But no, it was, you know, it was fun. Holmen was 500 or 600 people when I moved up there. Very small community. I think my graduating class was 80, I think. Now I think it's over 300. So yeah, I have a lot of fond memories of playing football, all kinds of sports up there. And
you know, I looked back at the yearbook. You probably didn't even know this, but I noticed that you played like 5 sports. I also noticed, as you said, that how small the school was. But you took advantage of every single opportunity because you were a multi-sport athlete. Some good teams, some fond memories, some special coaches and teammates.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, you know. My senior year, we had a brand new football coach, got hired, so things were a little iffy, you know. Anytime you're going into your senior year and you're going to have some change. But that was Luther Selbo, and Luther was a tremendous football coach and you know, a tremendous man. I learned a great deal from him. I also learned that when he spoke or told you needed to do something, you needed to do something. So I ran cross country in my senior year also, because like he said, me and one other kid on the football squad were chosen to run cross country so they could field a team. So one of my memories is normally we had practice all week long. There was a Tuesday home cross country meet, and he saw me getting ready for practice. He said, "Oh no, King, you and Ammerman are running the cross-country meet tonight." Well, I got practice. Well, don't worry. As soon as you get done, change into your clothes and come to practice.
No.
So you just did it. You did it.
Do you know, funny you mentioned Luther Selbo. I have talked about him on previous shows, and our viewers that have watched can remember me talking about and memorializing him because he passed away a couple years ago. And he was a great friend of mine, too. Did officiate a lot of games with him. Funny you mentioned him because I can see why not many coaches, our viewers maybe don't know, it's not many coaches would do what he did, would say, go ahead and run the cross-country meet and then play football. Would you agree?
I'd have to agree to that, yeah. He just figured that at the time the meet would happen immediately after school. He said that'd just be a good warm-up for you to get ready for practice. Because, you know, it'd take us 15, 20 minutes to run the meet, and then you change into clothes, and so in a half hour after normal start time, you'd get there for the meat of the practice.
You know, it's interesting, and we could talk about that alone, but just as there's a model out there, and our viewers may already know this, that some of that overlap may occur now with the virus. And as that's another subject, but as things change for the upcoming season and beyond, you never know what's in the future with the pandemic. So you after being an outstanding student athlete at Holmen, you graduated, you went to UWL. Looking at records from the Indians before it was the Eagles, I noticed that you were an exceptional defensive back. You had 11 interceptions in your career. You were all conference. You played for two legendary coaches, Roger Herring and then Raul Christensen, the defensive coordinator who passed away a few years ago. So you decided to stay in the area and you chose UWL.
Yeah, it was, yeah, you know, at that time in my life, I was kind of a homebody. Plus, I was heavily into dating my current wife. We were high school sweethearts, and you know, to me, it just made sense to come to lacrosse. I knew of their tradition, and I just wanted to be a part of that program. And luckily for me, it was panned out for me.
Well, it panned out very, very well. I remember you watching games at UWL, and I had just graduated when you were there, and you had some great coaches, and I assume those coaches, Luther Selbo and other coaches in other sports, and Coach Herring and Coach Christensen and others were a big influence on your style of coaching.
Oh, definitely. You know, I learned a ton from Coach Chris on the defensive side of the football, and you know, Coach Herring was just a great family man, great human being. So you're always going to pick stuff up from him. And then you know, Barry Shackmel was my position coach as defensive back, and you know, Barry was like, at that time he was younger, of course, but he was like an older brother type, you know, coaching you up, and that's, you know, you didn't really, you looked at him as a coach and respected him for that, but you really didn't consider him a coach.
I actually see him quite a bit in the community, and he's still like you. He looks young and fit and so on. Well, graduates from UWL, and then the story continues. The journey moves on back to Holmen as an assistant coach, as a teacher, under a couple of coaches. Particularly, I remember Jerry Binder very well, who was a friend of mine, and then he became AD at Holmen. But here's what's interesting now. This is really important information for our viewers to know. 29 years as a head coach, after being an assistant, 33 years in the program, 155 games won, and 5 MVC championships, 10 runner-ups. What's really important and significant, I think, to all of that is taking the Holmen Vikings to the playoffs 18 times and leaving a tremendous legacy. Wow. You accomplished every single thing, I assume, that you wanted to while you were at Holmen High School.
Yeah, I mean, you're always looking for that goal of being a state champion, but that's reserved for a few. You have to not only be good, but you have to be extremely lucky to get down there also. You know, I guess that was one goal that wasn't accomplished during my time, but a more important goal, I think, is you want to make great young men. And you know, I think we were able to do that. My staffs were focused on making sure our young men behave the proper way in class. You know, we always told them, you always open doors for ladies. You know, you always say please and thank you. You know, and my feedback is, when I get feedback back from some of my colleagues even from years ago, they would say, what wonderful young men you have. I mean, to me, that is why you should be in coaching.
Well, and stay tuned, by the way. We're not ready to jump to the second half of the show yet, but when we get to the second half, we're going to talk about some of those young men, and I'm going to reveal some names that you're going to recognize. But so you had a great career as a teacher and a coach. You had some special teams along the way. You never lost your passion, your energy, your commitment to coaching. Were you reluctant to retire?
You know, I always, you never think about that until it's time. And I just figured I would coach and teach forever. Well, you know, age starts catching up with you. And it was, I don't know, it was one, I think the defining moment was, for me, was, I think it was in March, the year before I retired, that I got up one morning, and I'd been going to the weight room 6 a.m. for years and years. I got up and I went, Steve, in a little over a year, you're going to be 62, and this is getting to be a young man's game. So right then, I made up my mind, but I decided right then that one more year was going to be it for teaching and coaching, because there was no way I was going to be a teacher and not coach, because that's, to me, that goes hand in hand.
Well, and you had teacher first, coach second. Of course, you modeled that. You were an excellent teacher too. And not many people get the opportunity when they retire to move on to the collegiate level. How special is that? When we come back in the second half of the show with Coach Steve King, we're going to talk about that along with some other things that you will enjoy hearing right after these messages.
With our busy lives, it's a comfort to know that we can still remember loved ones in a traditional way with a monument. Lewiston Monuments in Lewiston, Minnesota has been helping families purchase a monument for over 4 generations. You'll find a large selection of beautiful granite, marble, and bronze monuments, all at competitive prices. And they're a full-service company, so they also do straightening, cleaning, and repair of monuments. Stop in or call for a no-obligation consultation, or visit lewistonmonument.com for more information.
You know, the thing I'm most proud of when I think about our company is the reputation that we've been able to build in this community. Our technicians have done a great job going out and performing magnificent jobs for the customer. And our customers have rewarded us with some really great reviews online.
We have over 150 5-star reviews online right now. Our technicians do a great job out there, and our reviews show it.
We can say without hesitation, when you choose Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, you'll be glad you did.
Welcome back to 7 Rivers Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Rare opportunity, special opportunity this week to have Coach Steve King on the show. And as I revealed in the first half of the show, we'll be inducted into Wisconsin Football Coach Association Hall of Fame coming up right after the first of the year. Well, let's go back to high school a minute before we move on to his college coaching. Something that I saw recently, too, that you received all kinds of honors when you were at Holmen. You coached in the All-Star Game, Alumni Coach of the Year from UWL, MVC Coach of the Year multiple times. One thing that really struck, though, and you can react to this, you received the Rundle Positive Coaching Award from the Wisconsin Football Coaches Association in 2014. Positive Coaching Award. That's a special honor.
Yeah, and Dick and Margie Rundle are tremendous supporters of football in the state of Wisconsin, especially prep football. And you know, to be honored with that award was really truly special back in, I think, 2014 when I received that. But you know, and again, it's that's an award kind of for the entire program, like most of these awards are. You know, I just happened to be running the program at the time, but you know, that just kind of solidified that a lot of things that we had done as a program, we were doing the right things.
On to UWL. He retires, and within a matter of a short period of time, named as an assistant coach with the team that he played for. The only difference, it was the Indians and now the Eagles. and an assistant coach. An opportunity that you expected?
No. When Mike Schmidt got hired, I just sent him a quick text. Congratulations, Coach Schmidt. I know you're doing a great job. Let me know if I can ever be of any help to you. And that was it. I figured, well, he'd call and ask for some names of kids and stuff. Well, he got back in touch with me almost right away and said, hey, we need to sit down and talk. I need you on my staff. So, and I'm still teaching at Holmen at the time because I'm a couple months before I retire. So I went and met with him. I think it was late February, early March. Discussed the opportunity and said, well, let me talk with Mary quick, and you know, I went home and she knew I was down there anyway, and went home and she said, you do whatever you want. If you want to coach, I'm all in. She said, I've been your wife through all these years. If that's truly what you want to do, then I support you 100%.
Powerful answer right there, which reinforces the fact that with Mary, married 47 years, 3 children, 7 grandchildren, your journey, your success, and so on along the way is because you have a complete team effort behind you in your family.
That's true. You know, if in order to have a marriage last that long, it better be a team type of a situation, especially as many hours as I was gone all those years. So Mary had to do a lot of the child raising when I wasn't there. You know, of course now we see the grandkids periodically, but you know, if you don't have that give and take, so to speak, back and forth with each other, knowing what each of us wanted to accomplish, and she was a teacher too, retired now, so we get to spend a lot of time together, but you know, that definitely made my choices very easy.
There's a little similarity, believe it or not, between you and I, meaning that with our 5 children, and my wife Sue, who is a retired teacher also, she has been the rock behind anything I've done over the years. And you've been married 47 years. I don't know, she might get mad if I reveal this, but I'm going to do it anyway, that on August 8th, we're taping this show here on August 5th, but on August 8th, in a few days from now, we will be married 50 years.
Ooh, that's
so
tremendous.
There you go. So anyway, you'll be there before too long too. So at UWL now, real quickly though, before we get on to some other things, coaching again at UWL, but oh my goodness, and we broadcast every game here at KQEG. No season. Oh wow, nothing until 2021.
Yep.
That's highly disappointing for us here at broadcasting games, players, and obviously coaches.
Yeah, it's all those falls spent on the sidelines coaching. You know, we may still be able to have a few practices this fall. That remains to be seen. But yeah, it'll be like a fall I haven't experienced for years.
Yeah, me too. So let's move on to some quotes, and I want your quick reaction because I got 5 of them to share with our viewers. One, I always admired how you coached because we broadcast games, as you well know, and I would call you Thursday night and get a preview of the game, and I would call you sometimes on Saturday for your thoughts and so on. But you always treated broadcasters really well. Appreciated that. You always treated officials very well because I officiated a lot of your games over the years. And you let your coaches coach, which not all coaches do. Mark Wall said he loved coaching for you. He was your defensive coordinator because you let him develop schemes, and you gave him the autonomy to coach.
Yeah, I think if you have the trust enough to hire somebody on your staff, especially in one of your coordinator positions, then you shouldn't be micromanaging them. Let them call their game. You can suggest things as a head coach. I was always suggesting stuff, but you know, it was up to my coordinators to follow through either on that or take that into consideration when they're putting their game plan
Nothing
together.
wrong with that. Players, you ready? Noah Risch, remember him, of course. Who doesn't? He's been on the show a couple of times. One of your outstanding players, and then an outstanding player at Holmen, at UWL, and then went on and played in Europe. You got the most, Coach King got the most of his players. How'd you do that?
I don't know. I think I just challenged them to be the best they could be. You know, that sounds kind of corny, but sometimes it's the truth. I would approach them like a father or grandfatherly figure, and in my later years, instead of getting in their face screaming at them, sit them down and say, hey, is this really something that your parents would be proud of you to do? I think you can do a lot better than that. So
Connections. Speaking of connections, here's what Ryan Weber said. He played for you for 4 years. He coached at UWL with you. He played under you at UWL. He said you have the rare ability to connect with your players.
yeah, I think so. I think, you know, when you grow up or coach in a smaller community like Holmen, you know a lot of the parents coming in, so that helps. And you've seen some of the kids as they've developed. That helps. And then, you know, at the university, it's a whole different animal. I mean, they respect me as a coach, but I'm more like the fatherly, grandfatherly figure that they pay attention to. You know, at that level, I don't have to get on them too hard because they're there for the love of the game.
Ryan Goodnow, a friend of mine, you remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness, I was officiating games when he played. He worked for me then, and I'm still close to him.
Tremendous
Graduated.
athlete.
Yeah. Oh my God. Graduated in 1993. That was a tremendous group of players at Holmen and multi-sports. He said to me from Milwaukee, where he lives, just yesterday, Coach King was a coach I admired, great motivator. He got the most of his players. I'm sure you have fond memories of Ryan Goodnow.
Oh yeah, yeah. I may be the only coach in Wisconsin to have taken an all-state wide receiver and moved him to quarterback his senior year. But that's the kind of athlete he was. Tremendous athlete, tremendous skill, intelligence, not only in the classroom but on the football field. He was a student of the game. You know, he went on to play a great deal at UW lacrosse, was on, I believe, a national championship team. You know, arguably probably the best athlete I coached in Holmen.
Well, I agree with you, and I still talk with him quite a bit. And then when he finished playing football at UW, he could have played college basketball too. And then he goes to Viterbo and plays college basketball. I mean, it was incredible. All right, God darn it, Botter, what's going on? Now, why did I say that? Because Ryan Bott, who now coaches at Central and is a friend of mine also, always imitates you and says what you said to a lot of your players, gall darn it, and you'd always end it with Botter, what are you doing? Well, he says to me that Coach King taught toughness, accountability, discipline, but the thing he remembers the most is a game, and we broadcast this a few years ago. It was UWL at UWL against Central that you won 21-20, and he remembers your halftime speech, and the players sort of took your thoughts at halftime into the second half, and you won. It was a spectacular win. Remember that game?
Well, yeah. Any time we played at UWL, they were all special games. But yeah, Ryan was one of those guys that it didn't take much to get him too excited. A very excitable young man, still is, and you know, he's a tremendous coach for Central right now. But you know, he was a tremendous football player for us. We got so much out of that young man. He just truly loved the game and still does love the game by all the coaching and stuff he does. But yeah, he's, you know, you can't reveal everything that's said at a halftime talk, just like you can't reveal things that are said right before the game, because some moms out there might not like me anymore, if they do at all. But yeah, it's I think 1 or 2 words right before you come out at halftime can do wonders, especially for high school athletes.
We should mention Ryan Bott has fought through some difficult health issues.
Yep.
And hopefully we'll be back coaching full-time if there is a season at the high school level this fall. Up in the air, we're hoping so. It's been quite a ride, and it's not over with yet. So looking at the future as we conclude our interview, there's still gas left in the tank, isn't there?
Oh yeah, yeah. I truly believe that I'll know when the time's right to step away. Right now, that time's not right. I'm like I said, I have a very supportive wife. My children love to come to UWL games when we're at home. They love watching that stuff happen. They love to bring their families. So that stuff, not that that's my main focus, but that's important to me. As long as my family still enjoys doing stuff like that, I for sure love doing it. I have the opportunity now to coach the defensive line, and you know, that of all the positions that I coached in high school, and I coached a lot of them, defensive line was probably one I spent the least time with. So I had to learn some drills and other stuff and rely on some people for some stuff. But you know, it's been really a lot of fun to coach those young men. And you know, it'll be like, I think when I realized that it was time to get out of teaching, one day I'll wake up and the brain will tell me, Steve, it's time to step away.
I don't think that time is coming quite yet. Well,
not yet.
It's been a privilege, as I said at the beginning, to have Coach Steve King as our guest this week here on Seven Rivers Sports, about to be inducted into the Football Hall of Fame. So thanks for taking the time to be on the show this week.
Thanks for having me, Terry.
All right. We'll be back with some closing thoughts right after this.
You know, the thing I'm most proud of when I think about our company is the reputation that we've been able to build in this community. Our technicians have done a great job going out and performing magnificent jobs for the customer. And our customers have rewarded us with some really great reviews online.
We have over 150 5-star reviews online right now. Our technicians do a great job out there, and our reviews show it.
We can say without hesitation, when you choose Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, you'll be glad you did.
When you're faced with the decision of selecting a monument to honor someone dear to you, call Lewiston Monuments for a no-obligation consultation. Lewiston Monument is a full-service monument company, serving families in Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin for over 4 generations. You'll find beautiful granite, marble, and bronze memorials, all at competitive prices. Their experts can help you design the perfect and unique memorial. Lewiston Monument. Call today or on the web at lewistonmonument.com.
Thanks for joining us this week here on Seven Rivers Sports. My guest, Steve King, set to be inducted into the Wisconsin Football Coaches Hall of Fame. Hope you enjoyed that interview. Well, as you know, the coronavirus has disrupted fall sports at the high school and at the collegiate level. But we will continue to bring you Seven Rivers Sports here on KQEG. If you have a thought for a guest or a topic, please contact us here at the studio. Thanks for joining us this week. I'm your host, Terry Erickson, hoping that you will have an active and a healthy week ahead.